This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network. TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Styles with a save. Trent for the second here. A classic counter-attack, and Gibbs White puts Nottingham Forest 2 ahead. Here's Wood. 1-0 Forest. Has made an even bigger difference there. Nottingham Forest have snatched the lead at Anfield.
Hello, welcome to this edition of Red Side. Trent here to discuss the Europa League squad and Premier League squad as the transfer window closed. We did bring you a deadline day special, but there was a few sprinklings of Forest in there to discuss everything in detail. It's Christian Brown and Reece Lane. Christian, how are you first of all?
Yeah, good. Just about yourself.
I mean, I'm all right. Reece, that was some squeakiness there, mate. Are you okay?
I'm moving the laptop, mate. Sorry. Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. I hope everyone's calmed down from the announcement of the Europa League squad, and we can have a relatively decent discussion, guys, because there's been a lot of mayhem. I'm going to have to say it online with what's happened. A lot of different variables, and we'll go through it all. Christian, what's your initial thoughts, first of all, of the transfer window as it closed? Because obviously we brought in 3 players on deadline day, and John Victor. Oh no, he came the day before. Cubano from Botafogo is going back out on loan to Botafogo. We brought in Dylan Bakwa, who we've been after for a long time, and then the last minute, who none of us even said apart from Reece 2.0 in the chat that he'd messaged Mason at like 9 a.m. saying Zinchenko could be a shout. He's popped his head in the door. Thoughts overall?
Overall, resounding success. I mean, there's nothing more we could have asked for as fans, really, than to have a squad of that strength. I mean, you know, the fact we've got Zinchenko at the club and he's not even guaranteed a start is wild, really. I mean, again, keeping all these players happy is going to be a tough ask, but there's a lot of games to go around. So, yeah, I mean, all you could ask for and hope for was, I mean, like, we all said it at the time, didn't we? We looked on NB when we went into that Villa game away last season, which we lost 2-1. We looked at their team, they made 8 changes. It's like, this doesn't look any weaker. How do you aspire? How do you get to that point? And it's sort of like, now we sort of have that, which is really, really pleasing. And yeah, it's testament to the window we've done. I mean, you know, you've got 2 players at least in every position, and that's the bare minimum you need. You know, that you can look on and rely upon. It's wild. We're, you know, to have a window like that suggests that we're here for the long haul, and hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, Reece, it's come out, I think, in the last day or so that we've got the 14th most valuable squad in the world or in Europe. I can't remember which one it was, but that's a bit obscene in comparison to where we've been in the last few years, isn't it?
Yeah. I put up on my Twitter earlier, 5 years ago, we were signing Miguel Angel Guerrero on a free. And then we was raving about a couple of good touches I think he did at Barnsley away, as such as the vast change that's happened at the club. Yeah, the window, like Christian said, is everything we asked for. 2 players in every position, depth throughout the whole squad. Not, you'd think on paper, relying on any particular player in any particular position. Probably I'd say aside from Sells, really, because he's just a level of... I know we've not seen John Victor, but he's a Ballon d'Or nominee, and it's going to be hard to get someone, I guess, who's going to really, really push him. But we'll see with the Brazilian goalkeeper. So, yeah, the window's been a resounding success for me. It's obviously now down to Nuno to try and keep everybody as happy as can be. But with us playing across 4 competitions and looking to go far in them all, guaranteed 48 games, like I said a few pods ago. Yeah, I think there'll be plenty of minutes for people, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited, and we'll maybe discuss who we think might be the most successful out there. I think it's 13 new boys, maybe 12 if you exclude Cubano, who's gone back out. I mean, let's bring up first of all the Premier League squad, and we'll go through, I think, each department as we go. Christian, I'll start with yourself with goalkeepers, I guess. I mean, the only It's a tough one, really, because Sales was so good last year, so we didn't really need to improve this. But we didn't really need to improve this. But two new backups in John Victor. I mean, he looks like a like-for-like replacement of Miguel. I'm not going to lie; they look quite similar, and that's not me being like one of these people. They just do. They look quite look alike. It's like we've just swapped them out, and then Angus Gunn, who's I don't think he'll ever see a minute, to be honest, personally. But at least it's like all experience, like some sort of experience from both of those players to back up Sells.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the John Victor one's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously he looked pretty set for West Ham, and then I don't know, it just fell through at the last second, didn't it? Like, I think they had an issue with personal terms or something. But I saw it was interesting because I saw Nathan say that he thought it was a bad move for the player and a bit of a weird one for the club. But I'm just trying to hunt down WT Analysis's sort of stats from him. I think he's prevented 13.1 goals in the top flight since the beginning of 2024 and kept 25 clean sheets in that time. So I think whereas before Miguel played maybe 20 odd games or so, it was very unproven. It seems that John Victor is actually very experienced, which is probably going to help him quite a lot. I think even Gunn, Gunn's probably an improvement on Hennessy. If you have to play him, say for example, as well his mass outbreak, they both got injured, and say Gunn's in for 2 games, you wouldn't be thinking, oh, okay, we've got a Civic goal. We've got someone who's racked up nearly £20 million in transfer fees and played Premier League football as well. So we're looking pretty healthy in the goalkeeper department. I kind of want Gunn to get like a sympathy game somewhere. Like, say if we get, I don't know, Shrewsbury at home in like the FA Cup or something, like just give him like a half or whatever else, or play him. It'd be quite nice for him to sort of not be added to the list of Forest players that we signed and don't make a single appearance. But it certainly looks a lot healthier. I mean, obviously, until we see Victor in action, I suspect that'll probably come in the Swansea game in the Cup, League Cup in a few weeks. We can't really make much of a judgment, but yeah, on paper at least, it does seem as if we're really bolstered in that area, which is very difficult to do when like you said, we've got one of the best goalkeepers in the league. What's the best goalkeeper in the league last season? Someone's up for the Ballon d'Or. So yeah, it's a healthy place to be in goal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Reece, we'll move swiftly on into defence. I mean, you could look at every area, to be honest, but it's great that I know Christian spoke about Zinchenko, but bringing in an actual left-footed left back will offer us a different dynamic, a little bit more balance, and someone who's played under two. I know Christian don't really like Mikel Arteta, but he's played under 2 good managers in this league, Guardiola more so than anyone. So you'd think he offer a lot of experience, a lot of intelligence, a lot of advice to the rest of this group. Would you not say?
Yeah. He's won various trophies at Man City, obviously nothing at Arsenal, which I'm sure delight Christian. But yeah, look, we do need a little bit of experience, so he's going to provide that. You'd think his experience would be vital in the dressing room. Like you said, Adam, he's a left-footed left back. The problem for us with how the back 5, and I'm including Sells in this, is with how well they did last season, it's going to be very difficult to dislodge that unit because we said this in the second season. There was so many changes to that defence. We had so many combinations, and then last season we get settled defence. We see Murillo keep that consistency he had. Nico Williams has come on. Sells has come on because when he come in, he looked steady, but he's gone on to become a Ballon d'Or nominee, and that's because we've got that settled defence. So the good thing is that if they do fall below that level, which they did on Sunday, is you've now got players who you can actually bring in for them. And also, I'm looking probably at Ola Aina mostly in this list, who you can maybe give a rest, because sometimes he does. It's a bit like a heavyweight boxer, isn't he, Aina? He does kind of gas out and then gets that second wind. So yeah, there's plenty of options there. Willy Bolly, Nuno like Sunday. It'd be interesting to see if Morato's still here by the end of all the different windows. What's shot? I mean, Zach Abbott's training with the England senior team.
I was literally just about to mention that, actually.
Yeah, and obviously, like Jaiku and Nathan, if we take his word for it, nothing to doubt him, is the next big thing in Brazil, centre back wise. So yeah, there's plenty of options there, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm interested to see how Savona does at right back, because he's had like different varying reports on him at Juventus, but I don't think you play for the old lady without having a bit about you.
Yeah, I mean, Juve aren't the side there was 10 years ago when, they were dominating Italian football then, weren't they? When they had, Vidal, Pirlo, Pogba as their midfield, that type of side, and Bonucci and Cellini at the back. Times moved on a bit and they have fallen away, but they always fighting for the Champions League spot. Still, he played a number of games for them last season. I think it's 20 odd, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you'd like to, he's been called up by Italy, I believe. So you'd like to think he's got something about him. I did speak to last story Luca on it, and he did actually have a few glowing terms for him. I didn't ask how because he says every player who doesn't play for Roma is a swear word beginning with S. So yeah, we'll have to see. Obviously, it depends how he settles in. Coming from Serie A, it's a lot different league to the Premier League.
Yeah, you can defend though when you're Italian. That's all that matters. I mean, Christian, we'll move on to midfield and probably the area we didn't really need to strengthen too much, although we thought we did. And then with Zinchenko, he kind of adds to this mix actually because he can play in both positions, so that's quite good. But it's pretty solid. Dominguez looks like he's back on the field soon. Obviously, we're going to discuss some inclusions of Europa League, and he's been included, but then he's come out today and he's back on the grass, which is great news. But solid midfield, I think, a lot of different options, and even Gibbs White and McAtee can play there as well, which I find useful.
Yeah, we're stopped in midfield now, aren't we? I mean, I think you're right. We didn't really need to do too much. I think it was just a case of replacing Danilo and adding one other, which is exactly what we've done, really. I mean, let's say, I don't know, it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously Anderson was initially signed. We weren't sure if it was a left winger or a Gibbs White understudy before making the number 8 his own. So obviously McAtee's obviously replaced the Gibbs White understudy sort of role. And we've gained. So if you look at another replacement for Danilo, it's really Luiz. Yeah, I think that was the area that needed the least sort of amount of work, but we have come out significantly stronger as a result of it. If we can get, it's going to be interesting how we sort of operate. So obviously Luiz is very much number 8, so Anderson's going to be his competition. That's going to be a very, very hard shirt to wrestle off him. But if and when he does get his opportunities, if we can get anything like the Aston Villa Luiz, we're onto a winner there, big time onto a winner. McAtee as well should relieve some of the burden on Gibbs White and also remind him that his shirt's not a guarantee. McAtee will, he's come from working with arguably the best manager of all time. He'll want to play. Pep wanted to keep him. It was a more financial decision instead of more than anything else. So a lot of healthy competition there. Obviously, Sangare started the first 3 games of the season. I know he's obviously been unlucky with a few penalty calls, but it does look, again, like he sort of picked up where he left off last year, which is good. Dominguez, when he comes back, will be a huge asset. Absolutely huge asset. I mean, we've all said numerous times in this podcast how good Dominguez is and how undervalued he is by some portions of our fan base. If he is back on grass, as he seems to put in his Instagram story, if he's back in, obviously, whether he's just running or whether he's back in full contact training are two different things, but it's still a good step in the right direction because obviously we heard reports that he might be out till December, for example, which would be very, very difficult. But yeah, that's him being back is a real boost because we don't have anyone else like him in terms of his profile. He's very unique in how he presses, keeps things very clean, very strong in the tackle as well. So yeah, midfield, I'm very happy with what we got in midfield. It's an area of strength, I'd say, for Forest.
Yeah, massively. So, Reece, we'll move on to wingers. I mean, we've now got two left-footed right wingers, which we've been crying out for since we've probably come back into the Premier League, to be honest. And then two right-footed left wingers in the double doy there. I know you've got your concerns over Amari Hutchinson since this Europa League squad's come out, and obviously the first couple of games of the season, 2 games he's been available. He's had limited minutes. What kind of drives you to that opinion of him?
I think this is something I mentioned about his numbers last season. I get the profile. He's young, he's English, he's direct, like you said about the metrics and that, Adam. But then you're looking at the numbers, which didn't really add up to the fee for me personally. Then what's gone on is obviously all the old Nuno Edu saga, and then it's got to a point where, as a fan base, we were crying out for 4 wingers last season because we need to rotate them across all competitions, and now we're leaving one out, the Europa League squad. That for me is odd, I'll be honest. And I don't get fans who think that because he's been left out of that Europa League squad, that automatically means he's going to play minutes in the Premier League. The Premier League's Forest bread and butter. If he can't even make the Europa League squad, that tells me after 2 weeks, I just don't think Nuno fancies him, to be honest. I don't think he's obviously been an Edu signing and Nuno just hasn't fancied him because he makes a squad, mate. So
yeah,
I don't understand the view that he doesn't. I know people's got their opinions and the entitled to opinion. I just don't understand why he's not made the squad personally.
I guess it just depends on what the rules are and stuff, and then what his thought process is. And we'll get into it. We'll talk more about it when I put the Europa League squad up. I mean, but it's still good options though. You'd argue, wouldn't you? Hudson-Odoi is now not guaranteed a starting spot.
Yeah,
obviously signed back where he looks exciting as well, and I think it's really good options, regardless whether you think Hutchinson will play or not. It's still really good options to have, I think.
Yeah, it's just obviously from a fan perspective, you're just looking at the financial outlay on Hutchinson. I think that's what, if he'd come in for 10 million, you'd have been like, well, but because obviously his record signing and that is it's one of them in it. But I think if you look at them 4 wingers, I think Back was probably going to end up being a starting right winger. Because Ndoye's better off the left. That's where he played for Bologna. You know, they had Orsolini on the right because he could cut in and he had a whip of a left foot like Arjen Robben. He's a tidy player, Orsolini. Hudson-Odoi, we all really like Hudson-Odoi on this pod, but his numbers last season weren't amazing. He had a bit of a hit and miss game on Sunday, didn't it? Where that's why I thought it was strange that we didn't even swap the wingers in terms of the sides like we did at Palace. So, yeah, this competition for places. I think there's clearly 3 in back with Hudson-Odoi, and Ndoye will be ahead of Hutchinson, personally.
Just last question on Hutchinson. Do you know if he'd played for us last season in the style we played, or even under Cooper? Do you think his numbers would be better, considering what you've seen of him? I know you might be limited.
It's tough because we've literally only seen Sunday was forget Sunday. That don't count for anybody because that was just a waste of everyone's time in terms of when we brought the subs on. Even I know McAtee got about half an hour into, but he ain't a winger. That was just a waste of everybody's time. Them subs on Sunday. The Palace. So you're going off that little tiny few minutes at Palace. The movement for the second chance was really good, but obviously when he's executed, the first one he's got to hit the target with really, and he's leant back and blazed that over. That was a poor finish. The second one, really good movement. It's a little bit unfortunate, but again, you probably want him to at least hit the target, wouldn't you? But we'll have to see. It's just that if you join the dots and look, as fans we surmise, because that's football, isn't it? We all have opinions. Otherwise, what's the point in being a supporter? People chat about football and have opinions, but I just not sure where it goes from here, really. And it's stupid saying that early on because I know he said he was shocked by the decision. I just can't see him being a massive player in the Premier League if he's not in the Europa League squad at all. I just find that strange, personally. But we'll see, mate. We'll see.
Yeah, obviously. Christian, have you got anything to add to that at all? You're on mute.
The Hutchinson stuff's crazy, isn't it? We'll probably come on to it a bit more when we look at Europa League squads. I'm not as not cut and shut as Reece, because Reece has obviously left the door open a little bit. I don't think it's the end of the world for Hutchinson at Forest. I don't think he's giving the next Josh Bowler and loaned out to Olympiacos in January or in the next few days or anything like that. We're not at that level, but it doesn't look good. There's no way around it. You look at somebody. It's just bizarre. In what other team leaves their record signing out? Regardless of what you think of him, it wouldn't matter if it was Hutchinson or Dan Harding or whoever else. You just don't leave him out. You send a terrible message. I think it doesn't look great as well for prospective player. We've worked so hard to make Forest an appealing place to come to, and now it doesn't matter what we spend on you. You're not guaranteed anything. Players are going to excuse me, that's not what I signed up for. It's just not. It's not healthy. We'll have to see what happens. Ideally, you'd like to think he'd start against Swansea in the League Cup game. We've got Sunderland just after Real Betis as well, a sort of away trip. You'd like to think you would get at least half hour in that game, at the very least. We'll have to see how it goes. I mean, I think we'll be able to gauge a lot from those two fixtures, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
the hope is it obviously motivates them rather than deflates them, because if it deflates them, then with, like we say, with the outlay we spend, it's not good.
Well, it might not matter, mate. I mean, he could be like, he could be like Yates in training, but if the manager's made his mind up, it won't make any difference.
But if if Nuno's probably not been impressed from the first two, but it probably motivates him a bit. And because I think there was like a point in the first season when Emmanuel Dennis got dropped, and then it was reported that he'd actually upped his game in training. I think Cooper actually brought him back into the fold, but we'll see. I don't think it's ideal personally. With everything what's kind of going on at the minute, I just don't think it's an ideal look personally.
Yeah, proof will be in the pudding. Christian, just finish off this Premier League squad chat. Striker is incredibly healthy compared to last season. Although I don't like Nuno shipping out Cali Mwendo out on the wing every now. Like was the two appearances had limited again, very very limited. But I'm not sure about that either. But it still looks strong.
You'd like to hope that experiment ends now. We've got four wingers. We haven't seen him give him a run down the middle yet, which is stupid. That's his position. But yeah, it does look good. Obviously, whether a one will still be here the next 2 weeks is questionable. Obviously, given what John Percy said, obviously there's no interest in him from abroad, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, Wood, Jesus, and Cali Mwendo, very strong. I mean, they're all, even throwing Taiwo into the mix as well, they're all very different profiles of striker as well. So it makes you unpredictable. They're all good. Obviously, Wood's got 20 goals last season. Jesus is a full-time Brazil international. Cali Mwendo got 17 goals last year. Awani, when his body lets him, we know how unstoppable he can be. So there's definitely options there to work with, and there's more than enough goals there, you think, to fire Forest towards their targets. So yeah, again, very healthy position. The squad on paper is good. There's no getting away from that. It is good. It's a squad that most managers would very gladly want to work with, apart from the ones like Pep, for example, who already have pretty healthy squads themselves. But if you look around the other 14, let's say, they'll look at that and go, geez, I want to work with that. What an opportunity that is. So it's on the manager now to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move on to the Europa League squad. I've not included. I didn't know which third keeper we're going to include. I'd imagine it'd be Bot rather than Gordon. I put Abbott in light blue because he's under 21. That actually doesn't need to be registered. And we've got to talk about the obvious one first, which is Zinchenko. Reece. We'll speak about him first. The fact that we've not included him is very puzzling. I'd love to know if there's ever going to be someone's definitely going to ask Nuno why he's not included. I'm intrigued to know why.
If he's still
it's there. Very strange, especially after Ross Wilson's comments about why we brought him in, really.
Yeah, I do think that is down to the medical, though, reading into it today. I mean, yeah, Ross Wilson's comments were but that can just be a comment, can't it? And he might have, I'm sure I don't know every T and C of UEFA's rules. I mean, who does? Because that's why we've been scrambling around as a fan base trying to find out information.
Steve Parish doesn't know them, so.
Well, yeah, Steve Parish don't know him. He's chairman of a Premier League football club. So, yeah, I think reading into things and what a few fans have said, it does seem like the medical could have been an issue in terms of registering. If he's gone away with the Ukraine, and then obviously Forest are not going to be able to get a medical done wherever he is with the Ukraine in time. The caveat to that would be, well, surely this deal was maybe there to be done a couple of days earlier, you'd think, or was it a case of, well, Zinchenko's been offered around and Forest were the only team who come in on the last day and it's like last chance saloon for them. But because at the end of the day, when you play for Manchester City and Arsenal, no disrespect to Forest, it's a drop into. I mean, I think there was a time when City wanted to get rid of him to Wolves and he turned them down, for example. So, there'll be. I think that will probably be the reason for that. I mean, if that isn't the reason, then yeah, it would be a little bit odd because I know you'll get fans saying, well, Nuno hasn't seen him, but Nuno hasn't really seen Bakker, has he? And he's been included, for example. So, yeah, I think that there might be that be the reason, mate. To be honest, but it'd be nice to if Lee hit it like spot on Twitter. We haven't really got a journalist, have we? Who asks like the day-to-day questions, like how long is Dominguez back from injury? You know, we don't really know, do we? He's always like, oh, yeah, might be this, might be that. You know, when obviously we're back, that question needs to be asked. Like, why isn't Zinchenko in? And if Nuno turns around and says, well, we couldn't register him time, and there's your answer to that. But it'd be odd if that wasn't the case for me.
Get Robin Chipperfield back. He'd ask the odd questions.
Well, he did. I love Colin Fray, and you know, he's a brilliant broadcaster and that. But there was an elephant in the room with the questions on Sunday about asking him about his subs, and he didn't ask it. And I think like if there was probably a neutral journalist would have asked the question why the subs were like there was, but it's gone now, unfortunately.
Yeah, Christian, the other obviously major one is the omission of Amari Hutchinson, as we alluded to earlier. Obviously, we just had a brief discussion not too long ago about it not looking good. I mean, leaving your record signing out. Do you think we'll ever? Do you think there's? I mean, what do you think the reasoning is, rather than what do you think the actual reason is?
That makes sense. To stack. I'm only half joking when I say that. I was complete when we saw the thing from Colomossi, or how you pronounce his name. I think we were all just like, "There's no way." Like, we all thought it was opinion. There's no way. And lo and behold, here it is. Him and Zinchenko. I can't get my head around it. I mean, the Zinchenko one, I'm willing to give him a bit of rope in the case that it might be the medical. Equally, it could be again. Edu's got him in last minute ahead of this guy from Atletico Madrid. I don't want him on my team. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case either. It just feels like two fingers up to Edu, and that's not healthy because that's just petulant. That's childish. That is, we're going into the first European campaign in 30 years. It's already been. It hasn't. None of it's felt right. Like we couldn't get excited. We bottled Champions League. That happens. So it was sort of like, okay, we'll take what's next. We sort of begrudgingly accepted Conference League. Then we didn't know if we were going to be in the Conference League because of Palace's indiscretions. Then we got promoted. So the draw element, there was no excitement about the initial draw because we didn't know if we were going to be in it or not. Then eventually we get that all clarified, confirmed. We get Europa League pots. It's sort of like a bit of a whirlwind to get here. We're here now, great, okay. People are booking their flights, fantastic. And then you look at this, it's just like, oh, for God's sake. Like, I know I've seen people say as well, like, oh, other teams have left out big names and whatever else. Well, have they? Like, we'll go through it. So Chiesa got left out of Liverpool squad for that Rio, the 16-year-olds. Chiesa played 104 Premier League minutes last season. It's hardly a massive shock he's been excluded. You look at Mateus Tell at Spurs. Okay, that is a surprise. Although, again, that was kind of a player bought before Frank got there. Would he have signed that off if he was there? Clearly, probably not.
They've got Spurs a lot of players. Someone's got to miss out, I guess, at Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs have also. I mean, let's say they get out the group. They probably won't, but let's say they do, and Madison comes back, for example, ahead of schedule. Kulusevski's back ahead of schedule. They're going to have some serious headaches of how to get these players back into their squad and who to come out. So, no, they've got their own issues. Fine. Basuma, another one out of Spurs. He's in a bomb squad. Frank wants him gone. He's been late several times training. He was late to the game. It's very clear he's on his last legs there. He's got a year left. That contract won't be renewed. Him being out of the team is not a surprise. And you look at Chelsea, Raheem Sterling. He's in the bomb squad. Not a surprise. Buonanotte is an emergency loan for God knows what reason. But him being excluded is not a surprise. And you look at Villa, Ross Barkley, 570 minutes last season. Clearly very expendable. Again, not a surprise. Then you look at Forest. You've got a manager who's bleated on about needing depth in wide back areas for the last 2 weeks, very publicly, gets an option, doesn't take it. Okay, fine. Well, who else haven't Forest included? Oh, their club record signing, also signed by the same bloke who signed their left back. The thing is, given all the speculation over the last week, he's allowed this to sort of fester. He's allowed people to sort of come out of this. And you saw the reaction last night. You've got people openly wanting him to get the sack now. And to be honest, I can completely see why they say that. As stupid as it sounds, I can completely get it, because they're looking at when we were like trudging around the country watching Forest lose at Walsall, Bournemouth, wherever else, all these kind of places, we never in a million years did we think we'd been in a position where we'd be in Europe again. It was just a pipe dream. It's one of the reasons why me and Reece went to Valencia and Eindhoven respectively to watch Forest in those friendlies. We've never thought it actually materialised into real life. Now we are here, and we've got a manager seemingly point scoring with the sporting director, and that's jeopardising our chances in the process. Not the way but aside from that, the human element of Hutchinson is atrocious. I'm sorry. You can say it's a cutthroat sport. You can say he's well compensated or whatever else. It is so poor to treat a player in that manner. Your club record signing, and you've basically tossed him to the wolves already. It's shocking. And that's entirely on one man and one man only, and that's Nuno. There's no other way around it. We've seen reports today that Marco Silva could be in line to replace him. If he does, there's only one person to blame for that, and that's Nuno.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
An interesting one. I mean, just looking at this squad, obviously exclude Abbott and a goalkeeper and Yates because he's homegrown. Who would you have admitted for Hutchinson if he was in Nuno's shoes?
Well, Morato could be sold to Saudi in the next week, and if he is sold, we can't replace his spot in the team. Why is he being included? If his future's that up debate, if you're touting him out to clubs and saying, yeah, Morata's available, why would you include him? That makes no sense whatsoever. Then you got Bolly. Bolly played 150 minutes in Premier League last season. One start all season. Why is he included? If Abbott's as good as we think he is, and we make out he is, to the point where he's training with the England first team, which is pretty remarkable. Fair enough, he might be too green, we might think, but he's obviously very talented. You can't tell me he'd be a worse shout than Bolly. Jair Cunha, I understand, because Jair Cunha's got the Under-20 World Cup with Brazil. So he, in theory, will miss, let's assume Brazil go quite far, will probably miss at least 3 games. That I understand. Cuiabano, even before he went back to Botafogo, we all sort of thought alone would be next. I understand that. Gunn being third choice, I understand that. I do not understand Zinchenko. If that isn't the reason for the medical, I do not understand Hutchinson. He's just taken a bazooka to his foot and just pull the trigger. It's just insanity. Absolute insanity.
My only one caveat is Morato might not be for sale. That's hearsay. It'd be very Forest to include him and then sell him. It would. I mean,
it would. That's what I fully expect to happen.
That's clearly where there's a communication breakdown between the manager and above him, because if the manager sees Morato as part of his squad, which I think he probably does because of the amount of times he used him last season, and then those above him are tarting him round. Yeah, it's not good. And this is where I never understand the fans who are like, oh, it's not just Nuno's sole responsibility to pick this squad. Well, yeah, we know we don't fax it off. We know Karen in the office faxes the squad off, but Nuno and his coaches pick this squad. There isn't Edu and Marinakis saying, he doesn't send this across to Edu and Marinakis and they're like, well, Nuno, why isn't Hutchinson in it?
There's no way.
Because that's just undermining the manager.
They'll speak to themselves, Edu and Marinakis.
Yeah,
they won't speak to Nuno about that. They'll be like, what the hell is he doing?
Be like,
well, squad, whatever. But
I know and then you're getting fans being a bit pedantic. Oh, well, he's a head coach. The head coach picks the team. This is the exact same as picking a match day squad. He picks him and his staff. So why some fans, and that's their opinion, think there's going to be Linda Block, Edu, Marinakis, who Nuno hasn't spoke to for weeks, but is apparently picking this squad. I just don't buy that personally.
Not allowed by the training ground anymore. Yeah, but he's having saying this. Absolute nonsense. I think,
Are you in agreement, Reece, with Christian about would you leave Bolly or Morato out to compensate for Hutchinson if he was going to?
That's what I mean about the line of communication breakdown. Because if Nuno sees Morato as part of his squad, then I understand why he's in it.
Yeah.
I understand why Bolly's in it because he's like a Nuno stalwart. But like Christian said, he's hardly played at all.
Yeah,
Is he going to play much in this tournament? We know Savona can cover at centre back as well.
And you've got Abbott.
I know Dominguez is now, we've seen today, he's back on the grass, but how far is he down the line? Is that just running? He might be 2 months away, for example. But, I mean, Dominguez, if he was fit, would 100% be in the squad.
Yeah,
We all
there's
love
no dispute
Dominguez.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, just that, you know, everyone's got the opinion, but I don't understand why Hutchinson's not in it personally. I think
Do
I
you know
would have
what I
took
mean?
one of the centre backs out personally.
Yeah, massively. And also, I mean, we were scrambling around. I mean, I know this is very easy to say after the fact, but I noticed Newcastle squad, they omitted Jamal Lascelles, for example. Lascelles would have the exact, it probably cost Forest no more than £5 million last year of contracts, just off the back of an injury. He would probably have the exact same role as Boll in the squad and would allow you to register another player on top. Why didn't we explore that option? Like, genuinely, it would make a lot of sense.
It probably would have cost less than 5 million.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest.
You know, and if you had to actually play him, you probably pack him to be better than Bolly as well. Like, it's just such a mess. It's just
I just find, you know, we all, you know, myself including this, is guilty. We all get a bit hysterical and that, and emotional, and emotions run high because we're passionate fans. We pay a lot of money to go and watch Forest. You know, me and, you know, Adam, you pay a lot of money. Me and Christian and Leah all season ticket holders and away members, and I've been for a long time, not just, you know, since we rocked back up to the big league. And it's just quite sad that, you know, Nuno did such a great job last season. Yeah, we fell off at the end. You can say it's bottling it, or, you know, the cream rises to the top kind of thing, but doesn't matter what. We're in Europe. Like Christian said again, we had all the drama with Palace, who now absolutely detested his guts in the summer, but we're in Europe. And then we kind of starting the season, looking forward to the season. Then we've kind of got all this negativity because you've got, you know, Nuno and kind of the hierarchy below Marinakis at one another. You know, Nuno's spilt it into the press by kind of reacting to the rumours. And then it's kind of just going on, really, isn't it? And then we think, well, we beat Brentford and we were brilliant. We got a draw at Palace, decent result. We're thinking, yeah, it's going to blow over. And then we get a stinker of a result against West Ham where Nuno pretty much refuses to put any subs on until the game's gone after a stinking performance. And now we've kind of waiting round as fans for this kind of meeting for what's going to happen. And like I said, mate, I find it sad because we all should be excited, and we are excited, and talking about, you know, going to Seville in a few weeks' time, as I am myself. And it's just negativity at the minute. And then obviously this squad selection last night, it's just negativity again, isn't it? And look, no one's saying Hutchinson's a be all and end all because we don't know. But it's not like he's a record signing who's been here 2 years. It's not worked out. It's like he's been here 2 weeks, and for him to be not included at all, I just find that bizarre, mate. Personally, I just find that bizarre.
As well, like because of what's going on, every single time there's conjecture now. If there's a bad result, if there's a sub not brought on, if there's, you know, someone omitted from the
like I said, I'm going to use it. It's all the optics of the situation, and that's where I think like Nuno just isn't really helping himself at the minute.
No, he's not. He's like, you know, it's like he's taking a flamethrower to the fight as much as anyone else. Like, but that's going to keep happening, and if he stays, which, you know, on the outside you obviously people, oh, you know, he got Forest to Europe and whatever else, but yeah, he's basically doing, you know, what everyone assumes Billy Davis was doing, is torching everything behind him as he's in the process. Like, honestly, he's, you know, if you'd asked me a week ago, like, how I felt about Nuno, I stocked so high, we all wanted him to stay. All of us were like, you know, whether it was the Ange factor or not, because that would have been a truly like abysmal disaster of like catastrophic levels. Whether that was that made us rally around Nuno or not, I don't think it was, to be honest. I think we were all just like, look, this bloke's done really well, let's not do anything too hasty. You ask people now, it's like, well, he's trying to get sacked. What's the bloke doing? And it's like, you know, he's lost so much like support and credit with our fans. It's not going to go well. I'll tell you what, the next time, let's say if we get something at home, for example, if we're 0-0 around the hour mark, you'll feel the frustration from the fans. It'll be awful. If they go a goal up at any point, it'll be like, you know, time's up. And he's made that rod for his own back, and no one else has done that for him. It's entirely on him. And it's
playing stuff through the media does not go well in any walk of life in this country.
Like you said
the
earlier,
media run with things in the UK.
He's a head coach. Just keep your head down and do your job. It's not difficult. It's just so
we all love Nuno as fans. We do. No one actively wants to see him go. It's just like Christian said, everything because of what's happened over the last few weeks is kind of going to be questioned now. And you just wouldn't get that level of scrutiny if it hadn't been played through, all this hadn't been played through the media. Look, Sunday week, it happened last season, didn't it? Let's be honest. We had a few stinking results, Bournemouth. We came back on that one. I know it's a bit different because Arsenal next, but we came back after that and beat Brighton 7-0. We drew to Wolves in August and we're thinking, we're already 2 points down here on what the total we're expecting. We go away to Liverpool after the international break. We rectify that with a historic win. So we're going to have to kind of see. I mean, we don't really know when they're having these talks, but it needs resolving one way or another. We've said this now for a few weeks. It's just dragging on. The can's being kicked down the road, and it's not doing anybody any good. The positive is, there's two positives I'm going to end on, is that I seen that he got one of his coaches back who he's longed for, because I think one of them went to Fenerbahce, didn't they, with Mourinho, who's now been sacked, ironically. So I don't know if he might come back. And two, obviously, he had a nice meal at Astoria last night. So
I knew you were going to mention that. I mean, it would be an absolute travesty for a manager to lose his job because of just something so petulant and so stupid. Literally, I think every football fan would have no sympathy and just be like, what the heck are you doing? Like, you've been back to the heavens. So if this rumor is true that he might go and Marco Silva might come in from Footy Insider, I mean, I'm quite a big fan of Marco Silva. I think he's done a fabulous job at Fulham, considering he's not been backed as much as managers have been at our football club. But it'd just be an absolute travesty, and it'd be a disappointment because he did so well in difficult circumstances initially coming to us, and then to get where we got to last season, it would just be a little bit a bit of taste in my mouth not to see that manager do something next with this football club. But at the end of the day, as we all know, we all said it, the club is bigger than anyone.
Yeah.
Alex Ferguson used to say that at Man United. Look at the players he booted out from that football club. Van Nistelrooy, Beckham. I mean, Ronaldo he sold because it was 80 million to Real Madrid, but he wasn't afraid. It was not Peter Schmeichel. It was not afraid to get rid of the big characters, and that's.
I mean, Marinakis did that with Steve Cooper. If you go back and look at social media at the time, it was vastly split, and I'd actually say more people wanted to keep Cooper than actually get rid of him at the time. If you look back, and that's why they paid the big bucks on it to make big decisions. But look, I want this to be resolved because I love Nuno, and he's done a fabulous job for this football club, along with Mr. Marinakis. But the last few weeks, we can't go on like that because that's just not helping anybody, and it's crept into the fan base and the arguments and that online, the tension, because the reality is we've had as a fan base so many false dawns, and this is the best squad we've had definitely in our lifetime, the most expensive squad in the club's history. We're qualified for Europe for the first time in 30 years. We're actually looking to progress again. And we just don't want it to be a false dawn again. And that's why I think people and fans are a little bit on edge at the minute. And the problem is as well, we've had 2 weeks to stew over this, haven't we? Because we've got no football, which is a shame.
Yeah. I mean, Christian, I asked Reece the other day whether he thought Nuno would still be in charge come Arsenal when we come back. How do you feel about it?
I don't know, mate. To be honest, I really don't know. Logically, you'd assume, unless we sell someone, probably will be, because realistically, to replace him and all his coaching staff, I've pushed quite a lot of, and to hire someone else, let's say it is Sylvia, probably have to buy him out of his contract and his coaching staff as well. You're looking at 15 million minimum. You're signing your 3-year contract, Nuno. So, given our PSR at the minute, I mean, we're pretty comfortable. Obviously, we move in our means, of course, but you're probably looking at banking, say, 15 million on Jota. If Morato was to go, you're probably looking at 15 for him and maybe 10, 15 for Taiwo. if those dominoes start to fall, I wouldn't be surprised. No, I mean, Reece mentioned his long-time coach coming back. We hired Simon Rusk as Steve Cooper's set-piece coach a week before we sacked him. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
you know, I mean, the way he's moving at the minute, it's like he wants to get sacked, and that's a really unhealthy position for us to be in. I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, honestly, I think he will be in charge there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Silver Link was agent talk to sort of whip up, especially what strike while the iron's hot sort of thing. Oh, there's uncertainty at Forest. You've got 8 months left in your deal. Let's try and wriggle something together. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case in the FI League, but equally, I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. So, but yeah, if you were to ask me now, would he be in a dugout at Arsenal? I would say yes, but it's going to be very toxic very quickly. Even against Arsenal or Man City, it won't matter now because, again, Nuno's laid that path. If we go 2-0 down inside the first half hour against Arsenal, he's walking back to Nottingham out of a job. So
you have got to take. I know we've got this uncertainty, but you have also got to take into account that if Nuno continues, it is a results-based business.
Yeah,
Arsenal is one of them. Look, not many fans are going to expect to get anything at Arsenal, but you look at the 2 games after, which is, I'm talking Premier League here, which is Burnley and Sunderland. Now you're looking at them and thinking, well,
6 points.
We've lost to West Ham. You're looking 6 points.
Yeah, got to be 6 points.
And if you was obviously to think, we lost one and maybe drew one or something, and it's like, well, here we go. Obviously, we're going to want. I know some fans might not be bothered, but we're going to want to progress, in my opinion, the Carabao Cup. Because it's an actual tournament, I think we can look at winning personally, or at least going far. And then obviously you've got the first Europa League game sandwiched in there against Betis, which is probably the toughest game away from home. There's going to be probably 60,000 there that night in Betis. It's going to be in Seville, should I say? It's going to be a good atmosphere. I'd imagine they've obviously got a lot of European experience, so we're just going to have to see what happens, mate. It's just a shame, really. There's a cloud hanging over us at the minute, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to end it on a positive. I would like to ask you both, regardless of what squad we've chose, do you still both expect to finish either top 8 or go through at least? I mean, Reece, I'll start with yourself. Do you think where do you expect us to finish in that league table, Europa League?
Well, I mean, Betis is going to be, like I just said, it's probably the toughest game away from home. If we can go to Betis, in my opinion, and get a result of any kind, if we can go there and get a point, I'd be pleased. Obviously, we're going to want to win. Porto at home is one of them, and I kind of think we can beat Porto at home. Elliot will probably be seething now, but and then you're looking at the other 4: Ferencváros, Midtjylland, Malmo, and Sturm Graz. Now you're probably looking at Forest should be beating all of them, really. So let's say we get 14 points from the 6. I mean, is that enough?
8 games? 8 games, isn't there?
Sorry, who are the other ones I'm looking?
You missed Utrecht.
Did you say Malmo? Didn't you? Yeah. So we've got Malmo, Ferencváros, Braga. Oh, yeah, God, I forgot about them. So what did I say? 40. So let's say Braga. Let's say we get 16 points. So we draw 4, win 4. Is that enough to get in the top 8?
I'd have thought so.
Last year. Probably. I'm going to have a look it up while you ask Christian.
Yeah,
Christian. I'll see what the it was last season to get in.
Yeah, Christian, same question to you.
Assuming Williams doesn't get injured, there's no reason why we can't. If he does get injured, we're screwed. Or suspended.
So 14 got you in last season. So Rangers finished with 14. And then Lazio topped it with 19. And then playoffs was, so Bodo finished 9th. They was on 14. Down to Fenerbahce in 24th. They finished with 10. So if you get 4 win, if you get win half your games, you guarantee the playoff spot. Yeah. Basically, which Forest should be doing, no problem, really.
Yeah, you think so? Again, unless something happens to Williams, and because then you're panicking then. Because let's say he gets,
I know left back.
Until let's say Williams gets injured, or just like with 3 games to go, and I have to go to AFCON, then what? Exactly. Again, we just left ourselves in a stupid predicament by just not picking Zinchenko. Again, like I said, there is some rope. It could be a medical issue. If it is the case, fine, hold my hand up. If it's a case of Edu's got him in at very short notice, I didn't want him. I want the Atletico guy. I'm not picking him. he deserves everything he gets. Everything he gets.
And then last one to end on a bit more of a positive. Which player out of the new boys are you most excited about? Christian, I'll start with you.
What, assuming to get off the bench for more than 2 minutes. I don't know. I mean, given how much Tupper's banged on about Bakwa, I'm kind of expecting Ballon d'Or-esque performances from him. So, yeah, that's quite exciting. I think actually I quite liked how obviously Matt Barnsley mentioned it, didn't he, friend of the pod? He said that Bakwa rocked up obviously in suit and shirt and tie, his Prada black tie as well, very swaggy, and I think that's quite respectful. You go into a new place and that sort of it shows a good sort of you've been brought up well. So yeah, we'll go with Bakwa. I think it'd be quite funny as well if he did, because fair enough, Tupper was right. If he bangs in, say 15 goals and assists or whatever it is, and it's like a mesmerising winger, then yeah, fine, good, go for it. So
three assists and a goal this season already for Strasbourg.
Yeah,
so
cooking,
yeah, he's cooking, and he weren't starting because I think they knew he was going to go. So yeah, he is cooking. Greece, have you got any different players? Or are you back in Tupper's?
Well, I mean,
signing of the season, century.
We've seen most of them, haven't we? So we've got an idea of what. I wouldn't say any of them have massively excited me so far. I've seen there's been moments, the Indoor header and his pass at Palace and at home to Brentford, respectively. We've seen very limited minutes. So I feel like I'd like to see Callum Owendo. I actually think he'll start at Arsenal because Wood's going away with New Zealand. So I actually think he'll start through him or Jesus will start through the middle. Him or Jesus. I don't think Wood will start that game. Bakwa was, like I said, has been hyped up a lot on social media. Looks a talent. He's apparently been a long-term target of the club, so obviously him. I think we're all excited to see Douglas Luiz, really, because of the reputation he's bring. We haven't seen a minute yet from him. I actually think he'll probably play against Arsenal. I actually think Sangare, he'll come in for Sangare. And I think there might be a few changes for Arsenal, but we shall see. Obviously, we don't really know much about Savona, who's obviously the backup goalkeeper, because we had this chat last season. There was a point when we chatted about could Miguel come in and replace Sells, and then Sells basically did the Michael Jordan off Lance stance and took offence to that. So, and become incredible, and Miguel stunk it out at Exeter. So it's the squad's exciting me. It's exciting times. It's just, like I said, obviously this little cloud over us at the minute where we're kind of uncertain what's going to happen with certain players for minutes and whether or not the manager's going to be here for long term.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm excited for Bakwa. I had seen him before. Tupper harped on about him so much. He's excited. He looks like an exciting winger. So I'm excited to see him. Callum Owendo, I think, is a dark horse. I think he's got his stature, and I think maybe the way he plays kind of might remind me of Jermaine Defoe, and I love Jermaine Defoe. So I'm hoping
you'd like to think with
them throwbacks.
He's going to take Chris Wood's kind of mantling into really Callum Owendo. That's why you signed him.
Different type of striker, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, I know he's a different type of striker, but what's Wood got another this year and one more?
Maybe, yeah.
So I think we signed 2-year deal on it. So you'd think probably after that might be like a shaking of the hands. Well, I guess it depends how he does, really. But yeah, it is. I mean, if Callum Owendo flops, as you told me, Adam, because I didn't realise I've seen him score live. So at least I could be one of the only ones in the ground who's seen that.
Yeah, I mean, you see him score against PSG in a win. Yeah. So did Desiree play that game? Because he's a hell of a player. Him.
I can't remember, mate. Obviously, I've never been interested in Paris, but I just wanted to see Messi played before he retired. I should have done it with Barcelona, really, and yeah.
I did.
Saint-Germain stunk.
Yeah, I did it all.
They were absolutely useless.
I've seen him and Ronaldo score.
There as well. I saw. I saw them beat Sporting Gijón, I think 6-0 or 6-1. MSN up front. I think Suarez got a hat trick, and Neymar and Messi got one each. I think.
Well, it's like I picked because I did prefer Ronaldo a while ago, and I went to see Real Madrid and they had Ronaldo, Bale, and Benzema, and they still didn't score. They lost 1-0.
I went they beat they beat Espanyol 5-0. Ronaldo scored, but was absolutely terrible. And he came off after 45 minutes. I think Kaká played though, and he ran the game. And that made me so happy because he's like my favourite player. So yeah, great stuff.
I mean, amazing stuff and great memories, I guess, for us all guys watching Messi and Ronaldo. But we're watching Forest here. We're going to watch the second coming in Dylan Backwell because we've been told so much. But no, if that's everything for the pod, guys, is there anything else? Any other news, Reese?
No, I don't think so. I've no idea what Nuno had at La Storia. Luke has not replied to me yet, so he was. Are you
trying to find out?
He was like, "How the hell did?" He was like, "How the hell did you know?" I was like, "It's in the Daily Mail, mate." He's like, "What?" And I was like, "He's like, can you send it?" And I was like, "Yeah, here's the article." So I think he's probably shocked, but it's good, like free advertising for him, right?
I'm just interested to see who was the last. How many Italians we've had at the club, by the way, after we've added a fourth or fifth Nico to the squad.
Well, we had Manini, Matricon, and Petracchi, who are all
Makeda. Don't forget
Makeda, Salenzi, and then an absolute throwback, Nicolo Cardoso.
Also, Dimitri, also being useless.
Dimitri hasn't clouded on this as
that's him. Cardozo.
Oh, is that him? Is that him? Oh, yes, of course, yeah. So
awful, awful. The best one out of them, and the people can debate this, was probably Petracchi, and he was crap as well.
Hopefully,
but he actually played in one of my first ever Forest games. Petracchi, we beat Barnsley 3-0 at home.
Yeah,
and I remember he was actually pretty decent that game. So maybe that's.
Hopefully, Savona's 7th time lucky for an Italian coming to Forest, as Zinchenko will be the first Ukrainian.
We're going to have to hang on to Harry Toffolo being half Italian and say he was decent for us. So.
Fair enough, we'll do that. Christian, anything else to finish off?
No, nothing for me, mate.
No, you've had your therapy now. You've got it all off your chest, as Danny Tring did at the weekend as well. Good to this. But no, if you've enjoyed it, do drop us a like and a subscribe. It goes a long way, and do consider membership for early access for future pods. We've got a special one out soon for this month, as we promised. So looking forward to recording that and getting it out to you guys. But until next time, come on, you Reds.